Welcome back to High Point Land Company. This week we're going to talk about inheriting farmland or inheriting land and what's next. There is a substantial amount of land that is being inherited and the wealth is being transferred to the next generation in the United States. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an accountant, I'm not giving financial advice by any means. I'm a real estate broker in 5 states and specialize in farmland sales, auction sales, and rural real estate sales at High Point Land Company. And want to talk about the process since we get asked all the time, I've inherited farmland and now what? So I want to answer a few of those questions and hopefully help you out with the transition of this property that you've inherited and what to do with that property next. So when we start with that, the first thing is a DOD certificate or just a date of death. When an heir to an estate comes to our appraisal department for a basis establishment appraisal, we always ask them first off what the date was that the property owner passed away. The date of death is the date where we want to get a basis establishment to and use what's called a step up in basis for the new owner, or the heir to the estate, or the person that inherited the farm. We want them to see a step up in basis, which means if the person that passed away bought the property for $50 an acre and now it's worth $10,000 an acre, there's currently a rule where you can get a step up in basis to today's market value as long as you have a certified general appraiser or whatever your accountant recommends as a valuation tool by a professional to establish a new basis in the property. So if the property was previously purchased at $50 and now it's worth $10,000 an acre, you would not have to pay the capital gains tax exposure as long as you have that documented increase in value. And what we do at High Point Land Company is called a certified general. The person that does this is a certified general appraiser doing a certified appraisal for the land to do a step up in basis to the current value of the property. So once you have that done, you are avoiding a lot of that capital gains tax exposure for the property's appreciation. Next in line is deciding, are you going to sell the farm or are you going to rent the farm? So if you're going to rent the farm or sell the farm, it's really important to get a professional involved at that point so you know what the farm is worth. And what I mean by a professional, a lot of folks contact their accountant or their banker or their car dealer or their equipment dealer and ask them what farmland is selling for in the area. And that can range substantially across a county or across a state. And what you find online is a lot of times a county average, which includes sales that are lower, that were not marketed properly, or they might even not be arm's length transactions. They might be sales happening to a family member that might be substantially decreased in value. So the land that is sold properly sells at the top of the market. Just because somebody tells you the average farmland price or the county average farmland rental price is here, that might not be the right answer for you and your situation. So contacting a real estate professional at that point that specializes in land sales, not a real estate professional that sells houses, not a real estate professional that sells commercial buildings, a real estate professional that has experience selling the asset that you have that you're interested in selling, or a farm manager that is specialized in farm management. Again, there's folks that have a real estate license that can legally do property management or can legally do real estate sales, but if they're not specialized in the land category, watch out for that. They are a real estate professional. Some of them do a great job, but the majority of the time their numbers can be off because they're not watching the market, much like we're not representing or watching the commercial or residential real estate market. So when you talk to a land professional, you want to ask them for a proposal. Something along the lines of, we want a price expectation of what we can expect for the farm. If you've already gotten an appraisal and then you ask a real estate professional what the farm should bring at an auction or what the best way to sell the property is at a traditional listing, they will more than likely give you an additional number as well as a disclosure of all the fees that are involved, how they're going to market the property, how they're going to expose it to the broad spectrum of buyers that are all over the country instead of just all over that individual neighborhood. So you want to give the property the most exposure possible in order to achieve the best result. It'll just give you the best options. So after you've contacted that professional, ask them for a proposal on what the property should sell for in the current market. You can compare that to your appraisal and see how close those two items are, and then talk to your professionals like your accountant, like your banker, like your financial advisor, and formulate a little bit of a plan to see what you can do that's going to make the most sense with this property. Maybe that answer is you're going to rent the property out and you want to get some bids for that property for a farm tenant to rent the property from you. Maybe you want to sell the property and you want to talk to a real estate professional to see what the best method of sale is going to be for the highest price or the best timeline that works for you and your family and the others involved in the transaction, giving you options for what to best do with this real estate in the next chapter of its life. If you decide to rent the land or sell the land, you really want to have a handle on the market. I could tell story after story about a farm being sold for 50% of what it's worth because a landowner did not want to pay a real estate commission. And they saved a few dollars and they left hundreds of thousands or millions on the table with that piece of land because they did not understand the market. The last thing you want to do is not hire a professional just to save a few dollars there, just to spend a substantial amount of money in lost revenue on a sale. Also in the farmland rental category, be very careful. There are some wonderful tenants out there that are very honest, and there's just as many that are not honest. The last thing we want to see is somebody inherit a piece of land and then rent it out for a number that is too cheap in the market. The market, the county average might be $200 an acre, but that might include very low quality land. The county average might be is spread across such a vast area and a vast number of crops that your farm might rent out for much higher. So getting a farm real estate agent, a land real estate agent that specializes in that to give you an opinion, as well as maybe a couple of those folks, as well as a farm manager to tell you what opportunities there might be to rent out the land or the different features on the land, like the hunting lease, the tillable land lease, buildings that might be on the property being leased out. That will really give you many options and a full, clear picture of what to do best with this land after we've inherited it.